Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we are going to be exploring the word of repotting and focusing on four popular house plants. So I have aglonemas, dracena, peace lily and aloe vera. And if you have ever wondered when, why and how to repot these indoor plants, then you are in the right place. By the end of this video you will be a repotting pro. So let's get started. Repotting is crucial for the health and well-being of plants. It not only provides fresh nutrient-rich soil to your plants, but also gives a larger container for their growing roots. Here you can see my aglonema needs a soil change, whereas this not teeny tiny, but yes, aloe vera needs a big container since it has been outgrown its current container. This plant also needs a soil change, whereas this peace lily is searching for a big container. It is important to gather all the things which you might need for repotting, like planters. These are the things which I'm going to be adding in my potting mix. And here is a trowel which you might need, might not, but keep it with you. And scissors to trim away any infected roots. Now before beginning the repotting, I'm gonna show you how to prepare a potting mix. So here all of these plants are tropical ones like Dracena, Peace Lily and Agalonema. So I'm gonna be making a well draining chunky mix for them, whereas aloe vera is a succulent, so I'm gonna be using a different potting mix for aloe vera. As you can see, I have these soil amendments. I'm going to be talking about that. This is the regular indoor potting mix. I'm going to be adding 3 parts of it in my potting mix, and here is perlite. And it's a lightweight volcanic glass that expands when heated and creating small white porous particles. You can see here it is added to soil to improve aeration and drainage. I'm going to be adding 1 part of perlite into my potting mix, and now here is vermiculite. You can see it is also lightweight, porous and has insulating properties. It retains moisture around the root balls and improves drainage. So I would say it's a good soil amendment which you should use to improve drainage or airflow in the soil. For nutrition, I'm going to be adding some earthworm castings as compost. And now here you can see this is coconut coir or cocoa coir or cocoa peat, and it also helps in maintaining the moisture levels in the soil, also provides good aeration around the roots. And at last I'm going to be adding a little bit of orchid bark. This is going to keep the potting medium light and less compacted. It also allows the air circulation around the plant roots. And now I'm going to be mixing everything to create a well draining chunky mix. Perlite, vermiculite, cocoa coir or cocoa peat, worm castings, orchid barks. Now I'm mixing everything together to blend in well. Let me transfer this potting mix in a bigger container so that I'll be able to mix it well. But I don't think it's going to be sufficient for all the 4 plants. So what I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be adding equal amount of everything one more time. And just like how our body needs food to function, plants need a nutrient-rich potting mix to grow and thrive. And to achieve this, it is important for us to add soil amendments to provide our plants with what they need. And now the type of potting mix my plants want is right here. You can see. Let's begin the repotting. First, I'm gonna be starting with my aglonema plant. It's aglonema red, one of my favorite plants, and it has nice foliage. And this aglonema is 4 years old, and I repotted it once, and it has been more than 2.5 years since I repotted it. And you can see I'm gonna be shifting this plant into a 6-inch pot. Probably it's, I think, 1 or 2 inches larger than this previous pot. And the good thing about this plant is that you can see it's pushing out new growths. So this is really a high time to repot this so that it will have a good potting mix, and a good space to grow. And here is a point to remember that whichever container you are going to use for repotting your plants, it's important that it must have good drainage system. You can see here there are plenty of holes so that the water won't stick around the plant roots and eventually your plant will be saved from rotting. And I'm gonna gently remove all the old soil from this plant and gonna be adding new soil instead. And there you go, you can see I have taken off all the soil and you can have a look on the plant roots. However, I would say it doesn't have extensive root system, but the good news is that you can see new shoots are popping out and there is a lot of growth you can see around the stems. I can see the bumpiness on the stems. That indicates that it's going to produce new growth. Now, while placing your plant in its new container, it is important to fill in the pot with 2 layers of soil and look at the depth of the plant. Make sure that it has the same depth as it was in the previous pot. And now here comes the interesting part, which is filling the space around the plant with some fresh potting soil. So what I'm going to be doing is that it's very simple, just going to be adding some more soil to avoid any air pockets, to eliminate any air pockets. It is important when you repot your plants, make sure that there are no air pockets left, and you can do it by tapping down the planter gently. And here you can see the repotting of aglonema is done. I'm gonna be watering all the plants together once the repotting is done. And now let's repot peace lily. And the reason for repotting this peace lily is pretty visible. I'll take it out from the container. You can look at it, and it is still in its nursery container. I brought it home around, I think, 6 months back, more than 6 months, and it was flowering initially but it stopped flowering. And another thing is, when I water it, it's pouring out in within a seconds. So these are some indications that your plant might give you. You should notice it, that it needs repotting. So here I'm gonna be shifting it into a 6 inches container, and I like placing all green foliage plants in a white container. They look pretty well. And again, the whole process is going to be same. I'm going to be adding some soil and now gonna gently remove from its planter. You can see it's extremely root bound. There's hardly soil left, I guess. So I'm gonna loosen up this root system a little bit. Time to backfill. And now I'm gonna repot my Dracena plant, which has been in the same container for over 3 years, and I'm choosing a container one size larger in diameter. Also, I noticed some yellowing leaves, so I'll be trimming them away. It is always important, if you see any yellowing leaves before repotting your plant, just trim or cut them off. And now here I'm tapping at the bottom to pull this plant out from its current pot. I'm also trying to remove the old soil and gonna be repotting this plant with fresh new this well draining chunky mix. And gonna just add some more soil and tap around the pot, making sure that air pockets are gone. As simple as that, the repotting of Dracena is done. I have another small Dracena which I brought 3-4 months back, but I have not repotted it since then, and it is still in the small nursery container. I have seen roots coming out from the drainage and it really needs a bigger pot to grow. And my this Dracena plant is still small, so I'm going to be using this 4 inches a nursery container to repot this plant. I'm gonna be done almost. This is my last plant. Here is aloe vera. It is really outgrown, so it's important to repot it. And here I'm gonna be using a size bigger container than its current pot. And you can see this is a clay pot. The reason for using clay pot is that aloe veras are succulents, and the clay pot helps in absorbing excess water. And for potting mix, I'm gonna be using a succulent mix and gonna be adding extra perlite to this mix. It is important to be a little bit gentle while removing your succulents from its container. You can see the roots are coming out from the drainage, and it has been long since this plant is in its nursery. This is actually a nursery container, and it's been long since it was in the container. You can see it is root bound. And now here you can see all the plants have been shifted to their new homes, and they are happy there. And it's time to water, and I'm gonna be watering all the plants thoroughly, which means I would allow the excess water to drain out from the drainage. I'll water until it drains out from the bottom, and this is called thorough watering. And once you repot your plants, I would say it is crucial to carefully manage their care requirements or ensure a smooth transition. So, for that, you need to be mindful of watering, which means you should allow top 2 to 3 inches soil to dry out completely before you water your plant next time. Take care of their light requirements. Do not keep your plants in direct sun right after repotting. So it is important, find a nice place where they can get enough bright indirect light throughout the day. I would recommend, if you are repotting 3-4 plants together, keep them together for about a couple of weeks. Here is a stick in my hand, and I'm going to be giving this plant a support because it's leaning towards one side, so it needs support. Here I'm going to be using a twist tie to tie around this. Sometimes you need to give support to your plants if they are not standing tall or leaning towards one side, to bring them back straight in the middle. It is good to give them support. Now I'm going to water this plant thoroughly. And since aloe veras are succulent, so I'm going to be spraying around the plant with a spray bottle. And that's all. The repotting is pretty simple. I have repotted all of my 5 plants. Now they have got their new home. They have got a lot of space to grow. So repotting is really essential, but generally the spring and summer is the great time to repot your plant. But if somehow you couldn't do it during that time, then early fall is not a bad idea to repot your plants before the winter kicks in. And if you really like this video, find this video helpful, give it a like, share and subscribe to my channel. Until next time, stay happy and happy planting.